Hi John, so this is Sarah Giblin and I am presenting my ebook for the Digital Marketing Management course. So I subtitled my ebook Ad Behaviour as a bit of a cheeky play on words of bad behaviour, and the colour theme that I worked with was mostly blues, obviously being a great colour for trust, and greys, which kind of gave it quite a professional, authoritative feel. And the background here is actually an image that I pulled from Canva, and I played around with the colours and the opacity level. And I thought this image worked really well because it, to me, it reminds me of synapses in the brain, and also it looks quite tech focused. So the blend of the two was really perfect for digital marketing, and that's kind of shown in the image here as well of the light bulb. And if we go to the next page. So here we have the contents. One thing I will say quickly about Canva is that I really missed having an automated feature for inserting page numbers. I thought that would have been really useful, but they didn't have one, so it was a shame. What is digital marketing? Here it's a bit of an intro to digital marketing. There's a clickable link here for Internet Live Stats, and that's a really cool resource. And then we're straight into SEO. So this is an image I pulled from Moz to give the page a bit of a visual interest. And then we go into SEA, and there's another image there. And key social media platforms. You can see here that I started to incorporate a bit more yellow. And the reason for that is because yellow complements blue really well. And it contrasts also. Obviously, it sits opposite blue on the color wheel. And there's a clickable video here as well that explains a bit more about social media and a bit of information about TikTok, obviously with it being such a fast growing platform. I think that's one to watch. And then we go into functional building blocks and social media advertising. I laid out the information here in columns, and the reason that I did that is because I've read that it's far easier for the human eye to process information when it's presented this way. Which is precisely why newspapers do this. It's a lot easier and less overwhelming for the human eye. So we go into email marketing. So you can see here that I played around with well, actually this is a really good example of the color scheme that I created for the ebook. So the blues, the greys, the yellows, I inserted quotes and little bits of facts. Content is king is such a classic quote. And here as well, I did more columns, but also highlighted certain, relevant words with bold. And then models and frameworks. This is a quote from The Purple Cow, Seth Godin's Purple Cow. Obviously, that's relevant here because we're about to get into the 4 Ps and the 7 Ps. And I thought it was a really interesting book, so I also included a bit of a video here that you can click through to that explains a bit more about the book. And then we're into the 4 Ps and the 7 Ps. So again, I highlighted certain words in bold just to make it easier for the human eye to figure out what I'm talking about on this page, and then incorporated different graphics and colours for visual interest. And then we go into STP, so different examples of segmentation, so obviously demographics, geographics, psychographics, and behavioural. But I also included technographics here because I thought it was really interesting, and I wanted to write more about it, but I didn't really have space, so I included this video instead, which does a really good job of explaining how technographic data can be used in marketing. Then we have the IDA and the marketing funnel. I put this wee graphic together just with different bits on Canva, and then I made a bit of a checkerboard feel with this page just to keep things looking interesting. And then here we have digital advertising. We have the very first digital ad, which had a 44% click-through rate, which is huge. So I thought that was really cool to include. And it looks so dated now as well. But here I made a wee infographic about the timeline of ad platforms. Now I also made that infographic in Canva, and I just imported it through, obviously working with the same colour theme that's running throughout the ebook. And then we go into Peso. Peso is a kind of an adaptation of the paid earned owned media, but it inserts the shared option as well. So there's a bit of a picture here which explains a bit more about it. And then we go into social media advertising, and then there's a bit of an explanation about boosted posts and sponsored posts. And then native advertising. This is possibly one of my favourite pages in the book. Even though it's very text heavy, I think it still looks quite cool, and the wee inserts here kind of help the reader to process the information as well. It breaks it up quite nicely. And I did the same here with the retargeting, and these were just different graphics that I pulled from Canva and inserted different facts. And again, another clickable video there. And then we go into search, advertising, and display. So search, I pulled this graphic here again from Canva and just inserted the title. And then I played around with different looking glass images and settled on this one. And then I inserted facts that I wanted to highlight. And again, you can see here the columns and the bold text. So now we go into programmatic advertising. I quite like this page as well. I thought playing with the opacity on these kind of shapes here added a lot of visual interest, and as well the stats here broke it up really nicely, as did the graphics down here. And again, columns. And then we go into ad platforms and trends. There was a lot of information to get through here. So I just picked out the two largest ad platforms, which is Google AdSense and Facebook Audience Network, and I just gave a few of the pros of each. And then in ad trends here, I inserted a quote from Janice Dickinson. She says, "Follow sound business trends, not fashion trends." And I thought that was quite a good quote from a model and business person. And then selling digital media. This was really text heavy in this chapter, and I struggled actually to make this look more kind of visually interesting. So I tried wherever I could to break things up with different bits of graphics, and I played with like the backgrounds as well to kind of segment the different bits of text. What I will say is I struggled here to incorporate columns just because of the amount of information that I was trying to get through. If I inserted it in columns, it looked really messy on the page, and I really didn't like that. So I ended up just going back to paragraphs like this. So here we have another quote. The future of e-commerce lies in being more intuitive than the competition, and another clickable link. And then types of digital products and benefits of e-commerce. Here we're just getting into bullet points. Again, it's an easy way for the eye to process information. Then we go into SOSTAC here. So I thought this was a really relevant quote here. Just because you can measure everything doesn't mean that you should. I think there's a tendency in digital marketing, because of the sheer amount of information and data that we have, to just want to measure everything. But this kind of is a good reminder to be really focused about the KPIs that you've chosen, and to be selective about that. And then we have, this is another clickable link, takes you through to some more information about SOSTAC. And then we have SMART goals here and an example of one here. And then wee icons about the 5 S's. And then we go into analytic tools. So these are a couple of clickable videos that do a really good job of explaining Google Analytics and Hootsuite. And then I just listed the other platforms that I didn't get to. And another quote here, what gets measured gets managed, another important one. And this video here is really good. It's about an hour long, but it does a good job of explaining how to kind of measure marketing campaigns. And then AR and VR, and some stats down here to make it visually kind of pop. And then AI, and then platforms. So we have Book Creator, Canva, and Crello. I was deciding between Canva and Crello to make this ebook. They are quite similar, but because I had a free subscription with Canva Pro, it gave me more features than Crello did. So that's why I went with Canva. And Book Creator I felt was really quite too simplistic for the level of creativity that I wanted to put in here. And also I think you could probably tell I was sick of the blues and yellows and greys at this point. So I inserted a picture for the background of these pages to make them kind of give them like a homework book feel, which is relevant for the ebook section. And then recommendations. So these are just some platforms, books, websites, and courses that I thought might be useful for someone new to digital marketing. And these are clickable here, and so is this one, Answer the Public. That's a really great social listening tool. And then that's the bibliography there. Thanks very much, John.